So the difference between the Porsche GT4 Clubsport and the GT4, one is taken halfway through assembly and taken to a different assembly line in Porsche Motorsports, caged, put an FIA legal cage in it. It's mated with a PDK transmission, which is a paddle shift transmission, which a lot of Porsche owners are going to be very familiar with. But the GT4 street-going version is a 6-speed gearbox manual transmission with an auto blip feature. So different animal. They behave a little bit differently. One is straight-on race car. It's very light. It's very crisp. One is a lot more refined. The street-going version, a lot more refined, a lot more comfortable. A lot more electronic features, such as the auto blip, sport mode, but it retains that manual transmission that you just, as a sports car owner, you just want to have. If you buy a sports car, it shouldn't be a paddle shift. In my opinion, it should always be a manual transmission. So our Porsche Cayman GT4 Clubsport around this track is actually quite good. It doesn't have the top power as far as horsepower, wheels down horsepower as some of the V8 American muscle cars have, but it's very refined, it's light, it handles direction changes and braking very well, and it's also very, very good on tires. So because of that lightweight and because of that crisp handling, it doesn't abuse our Continental tires as much as some of the heavier cars do. So while we may not always set an outright fastest lap, over the period of 20 laps, we're going to have a very, very strong car.
I quickly realized that Formula Cars was a great training ground, but sports cars were where my true passion was laid. And I got connected with the CJ Wilson Racing Group, and we formed a great partnership right away with my partner, One Capital Management. So it's been a great season so far. We've had some really good results in the GS class, and we're looking to make a championship run at the end of 2016 here. We've done a few magazine articles with the Cayman GT4 Clubsport, which is this car here, and the Cayman GT4 street car. They handle slightly differently. The street car is a little heavier. It's not quite as stripped out as this is, and other than that, having the street tires on makes a bit of a difference for the grip. But they're quite similar cars in the way that they look and the way that they drive. They're both mid-engine and have the balance quite very well balanced. Driving in the wet is going to be a little more slippery. You have to be a little more careful with your inputs. So getting on power, you have to be very delicate with the throttle. It's kind of like driving on eggshells almost as you're going through the corners, making sure you don't break them. But as for the car handling, it's got a lot of grip with the engine being in between the front and the rear tires. So for me, it's the best car I've driven in the wet, and I've driven all types of Formula cars. So I really enjoy driving it. It's a fantastic car for me to learn how to get into the sports car world. And I think it's going to be a great platform for me to learn and then grow into becoming when I get in the Porsche 911 in future years.